So it's time for the moment of truth. If you guys have been following along the build series, let's see if this thing runs. Looks like she works to me. Welcome back to Sawtooth Tactical. Today is a very good day. The 300 Blackout build is pretty much done for now, and took it out to the range and the thing runs perfectly, which is a great feeling. One of the reasons why I'm so adamant about building your own guns versus buying them, and believe me, I've got no problem buying them either, but there is something so satisfying about building a firearm from a stripped lower, picking all the parts piece by piece, and then taking it out for the first time, and it actually does what it's supposed to do. So that's what this video is today. It's the first shots with the mostly completed build. Before we get started, I want to thank my Patreons. I want to thank every one of you that subscribed to the channel. We just passed 1,000 subscribers. Next goal is 10,000. So let's get us there. And let's start the show. So I'm very happy that this build runs well. You know, you never know when you pick certain buffers, you know, your gas system is right, all that stuff, but it seems like it works. And I built this to be the ultimate home defense short CQB firearm. Now I just gotta wait on the suppressor, but now that I know that it works, time to kit it out with lights and slings and everything else we need. So if you've been following along on the channel, you know that the most recent build series that we've been doing has been this. This is what I'm calling the ultimate home defense build. The 300 Blackout started with an Aero Precision M4E1 stripped lower receiver, 8-inch barrel, 300 Blackout. It's going to be suppressed full time as soon as my can is approved by the ATF. And the whole point of it is a short, easily maneuverable weapon, suppressed for if it ever has to be used indoors, which hopefully it never will be. But I wanted something that if I did ever have to use it in a home defense type of scenario, it wasn't going to make me and my family deaf. But I also wanted something short and maneuverable. And so I built this. It's very purpose built to be exactly that. And the thing runs great, which is a very satisfying feeling. So before we get up close on it, let's go over, if you haven't watched the whole build series, let's just go over what's in this thing. So we started with the Aero Precision M4E1 stripped lower receiver. This is the Join or Die Franklin Snake Special Edition lower. So within that lower receiver, we installed a standard Aero Precision lower parts kit, which I have switched a lot of those parts out since, but we'll go over that as well. I got the lower parts kit without the fire control group, and I'm going to tell you why in a second. But with the Magpul MOE SL grip, I really like the slimline grip. It's got more of a vertical angle to it, which I enjoy, especially for something short barreled. You don't want your wrist to be cocked up like that. It's just much more ergonomic this way, to have it a little more vertical instead of slanted back like the dreaded A2 grip that everyone changes out. After the lower parts kit, the grip, We got the upper receiver. This is an Aero Precision M4E1 upper receiver. And they made up so tight, tighter than any of my other AR-15s. Without the pins in them, I can hold the upper and the lower won't fall out. That's how good the lockup is on these. It does take a little bit of work to get this rear takedown pin out. I actually have to like poke it out with a bullet, but it is nice and tight. And the M4E1 lower actually comes with a tensioning bolt that you can use, but I didn't even find myself having to use that. So within that upper receiver, we have an Aero Precision nickel boron bolt carrier group. I got the nickel boron because I'm going to be running it suppressed, and nickel boron is very slick, so it is easy to clean, because when you're running suppressed, you get a lot more gas blowback into the system, which makes things dirtier. And so I just wanted something that was going to be as easy as possible to clean when I have to clean it. We've got the Radian Raptor ambidextrous charging handle, also the Radian Talon ambidextrous safety selector, which I set to 45-degree throw, and I love that. Besides that, on the lower, we also switched out the bolt catch to a Geissele maritime bolt catch. This it just gives you a little bit more surface area to get onto, which is kind of nice. I used to run Magpul bad levers, and I still do on a couple of my ARs, but didn't want to on this one. I just wanted to go with more high-end parts. So in light of that, the other Geissele parts here are this. This is the Geissele single stage SSP single stage precision trigger, and it is amazing. Check it out. It is like breaking glass. Short reset, very crisp break, and it's very, very light. Feels like about 3 pounds. Geissele says 3.5, I believe. But this is as light a trigger as I have on anything. It's just fantastic. Also use the Geissele Super 42 buffer system with the braided buffer spring and an H2 buffer, which I did have one issue with this, and I believe maybe I'm running a little bit too heavy of a buffer. It's not locking back on the last round. It's cycling perfectly, but I'm not getting locked back on an empty magazine as I should. So might be something I need to play with a little bit. I was concerned about it being undergassed when I initially installed the gas block, but I fixed that before I took it to the range. So I don't think that's the issue. So yeah, Geissele, Radian. Got the SB Tactical SBA3 pistol brace, but I switched it out with a Phase 5 strap here, just to kind of keep going with the black and tan look. I really like the color scheme of this. I think it just looks really cool. You know, I've got a lot of all black guns, and I'm starting to want to be a little bit more interesting as far as color schemes go. You know, I Cerakoted the slide on my M&P, which is my main squeeze pistol. I did a rattle can job on my PSA AR-15, and this one, I just got the nice flat dark earth Cerakote. It's got the Aero Precision Atlas R1 handguard 7.3 inch. I like the R1 a lot because it's slim and ergonomic, but it has a full-length Picatinny top rail so that I can put backup iron sights, I could put a pressure pad for a light, all of which I am going to do. I just wanted to make sure it ran before I started kitting it out with all that stuff, because a working firearm is the most important thing. Then you can add all the cool fun stuff, which we will do shortly. It's got a Rosco 8.2 inch 416R stainless steel barrel in 300 Blackout. I got this little finger stop here. I had a hard time picking what kind of foregrip or hand stop I wanted on this, because as you can see, the gas block takes up more, almost half of my available M-LOK slots. And so it took a while to figure out what to use. This works perfectly. I can wrap my finger around it, pull it back into my shoulder, and it just works absolutely fantastic. I also just put a regular 30 cal birdcage flash hider on the front. The reason for that is because I am getting a direct thread suppressor for this. And so I didn't need a muzzle device that was going to be a QD attachment. And I didn't want to spend a bunch of money on some kind of fancy flash hider or brake or something that I was going to take off and never use again once I got my suppressor anyway. And then the optic I chose here, I just absolutely love. I don't know if you can see the reticle through the camera, but this is the Holosun HS512C. I wanted something like an EOTech style optic. EOTechs are very expensive. They have kind of shitty battery life, and they don't have the shake awake automatic on, automatic off feature that I have come to rely on a lot of my other optics. That's a feature that it's important to me because I don't have to worry about turning it on, don't have to worry about turning it off. It just turns off automatically when you're not using it, not moving, but as soon as you pick that thing up, it is on and ready to go. You don't have to worry about turning it on, any of that stuff. It even has solar panels here that sense the ambient light and adjust the brightness of your reticle. So far, for shooting outdoors, it worked great. I think I might turn that off because if I do have to use it in the middle of the night, if you're running a light on the front, it's going to be sensing the lack of light being in the dark, and your reticle is going to be very dim and probably washed out with the white light shining. So that I probably will change to manual adjustment and, set it for what I'll need it for when I'm at home and brighten it up during the day when I'm shooting it out at the range, which this thing at the range was really fun. And this reticle, it's the 65 MOA circle with a 2 MOA dot. It was very interesting to me. All my other red dots are just a 2 MOA dot, or in the case of my pistol optic, a 6 MOA dot. So it was interesting to have such a big reticle there, but I found it very easy to quickly get on target. And when this thing recoiled, it was very quick and easy to get it right back on target. And that's kind of the whole point of that reticle, is fast target acquisition. I didn't really build this thing to be the most precision long distance firearm. I've got other things for that. This is for CQB, home defense, being maneuverable and quick onto target. Let's take a quick look up close at it because I'm proud of it and this thing looks awesome. So one of the reasons that I advocate to build versus buy your firearms, especially AR-15s, is because of the feeling you get the first time you take it to the range and the gun that you built yourself runs perfectly. It's a very satisfying feeling. That is a great feeling. So here you can see her in all of her short-barreled CQB glory. It really does look good up close. I love this Radian Talon Ambidextrous Safety. It is, it's very easy to actuate the 45 degree, and what I really like about it is once you're done with your string of fire, you can pull it off, put it back on safe with your index finger on your firing hand, which is really nice. So it's click on, click off with that finger. It works great. I like the Geissele bolt catch, the maritime bolt catch as well, especially for locking the bolt back. That was my favorite thing about the bad levers, is I could just hold it up with my finger when I wanted to pull the bolt back and lock it. at least this gives you a little bit more of something to grab onto. Let's see if I could do this on camera or not, which, there we go. So yeah, just a little bit more surface area there. And for dropping the bolt, nice and quick and easy. It's got some really good traction on there. This Geissele trigger is just amazing. Check it out. I could definitely see why Geissles are so sought after. And I got a great deal on this trigger too. Geissele had a sale a little while back, and the standard $240 price point was down to $165, you know, and then tax and shipping was like $180, but you know, it's quite a bit less than $240, which is nice. 416R stainless steel barrel from Rosco. This is my first Rosco barrel, and after one day at the range, I am very happy with it. Standard Aero Precision low profile gas block and gas tube. If you've watched the previous videos in the build series, you know that I was a little concerned with the gas tube. Didn't seem very straight on there. And so when I installed the gas block itself wasn't straight. And I was concerned that it wasn't going to get enough gas back into the system. So I took the whole thing back apart and redid that, and doesn't seem to have any issues. Now if it does seem a little bit under gas, because like I said, the bolt wasn't locking back on the last round, I believe that might have to do with the H2 buffer and the heavier spring that comes in the Geissele Super 42 buffer system. After I purchased this buffer system and installed it, I did some more reading about it, and they don't recommend it for shooting 300 Blackout subsonic ammo because it is a stronger spring, which is supposed to help for reliability in picking up a new round off of your magazine. But subsonic ammo is, you know, less, it's not as hot. And so we'll see how that works. There will be more gas back into the system because of the back pressure, the added back pressure due to the suppressor. So hopefully it runs subsonic ammo just fine. If it doesn't, I will cross that bridge when I get to it. But it seems to run supers just fine without the silencer. And I'm going to see what kind of tuning and adjustment we need to do to this. I've only had it out once so far, but it did work really well, and I was very happy with it. I was going to try to show you the reticle in there, but that was harder than I thought it would be. But this optic is awesome. Let's see if we can make that work. It is not easy. Yep, I don't know. Anyway, certain things are harder than others when you are the filmer, editor, and star in your own show. But I hope you guys have been maybe a little bit entertained, maybe inspired by this build. Building firearms is so much fun. You know, I always used to just buy them and then switch everything out until I had it the way I wanted, in which case you're basically paying for, you know, 2 of every part. So it makes a lot more sense financially to build it yourself. Plus, you don't have to buy the whole thing all at once, you know. Started with the lower receiver, added the lower parts kit, added the trigger, added, and each piece at a time was $100 or $200. You know, the optic was quite a bit more, but it was a lot less than spending over $1,000 at a time. It is a good day when you finish a build and it works the way it's supposed to. So when it came to shooting this, I was very happy with it. The ergonomics of it, with the more vertical grip angle, the SBA 3 brace, and this to pull it back into my shoulder, really worked well together. And the Ambidextrous Safety, like I said, I love that I could just actuate at 45 degrees with my thumb and then put it back on safe with this finger as I'm coming off the trigger. It's very quick, very easy, and the Radian Talon Safety has just a very nice, you know, positive click to it. It's not gritty at all. It's just sweet. The Geissele trigger, I couldn't be happier with. The optic, I couldn't be happier with. Really, building a firearm is so satisfying because you can pick every single part that you want and build exactly the gun that you want it to be, which is the case with this. This is what I envisioned from the start before I even bought the strip lower, and it turned out perfectly to me. I'm extremely happy with it. I think it looks great, it functions great, and I think it'll be perfect for the purpose that I built it for, which is that ultimate CQB home defense type of firearm. Now, next thing is going to be a light. I really like the Streamlight HLX, ProTech HLX lights. They are, for the money, probably the best you can get in that little over $100 range. After that, you're looking at Surefire, Cloud Defensive, Mod Light, those kinds of things, which are very expensive. But they're expensive for a reason. They're very good, proven, reliable, durable, tough lights. But so is the Streamlight, and it costs a lot less. And with the Arasaka mount, like I have on this Streamlight right here, it puts it nice and close into your rail. It's a little bit big for such a short rail, so we'll see. I'm thinking that I might take the HLX off of my EPC9, put it on here, because with the added length of the suppressor, I want something a little bigger so that I don't have shadow from that suppressor. And then I might get, the ProTech 2 or something smaller for the AR9. So we'll see how that goes, but you also have to think about the lack of rail space here. If you've got a backup front iron sight and a pressure pad, that's pretty much all your rail then. So we'll see what we could do here. I'm going to get a sling for it. Just ordered a case for it because I don't have one yet. I just want a lot of things. But I recommend that anybody that is thinking about building your own AR to just go for it. Nobody taught me how to do any of this stuff. I just figured it out as I went along. The first true build that I did was this EPC9. 9mm is kind of an easier build. You don't have a gas system to deal with. But it's pretty much the same concept. And, same thing. I bought the stripped lower receiver, bought the lower parts kit, went from there, added the parts as I needed them, and I got a very reliable, functioning, really fun to shoot 9mm AR out of it. So that made it easy for me to decide to build my 300 Blackout rather than buy. And what I love about building is you get exactly the gun that you want because you pick every part. It's not like with these first two ARs that I got, I bought them as completed guns. And with this one especially, my first one, I literally have changed out every single part pretty much on the gun by now, except for the receivers and the barrel. And with this one, I changed out a tons of parts too. And that's the thing. So you're basically paying for all the parts up front and then paying for those parts again as you switch things out and add the parts that you want to make it the gun that you want it to be, which I learned a lot doing that. But one of the biggest things I learned is that it makes more sense to just buy those parts one time, get the parts that you want the first time, and build the gun that you want. And don't be intimidated by it. It is not that difficult. Get the right tools, which I don't even really have all the right tools, but I made it work with what I had. And, do a little bit of research on YouTube. Look at what you need to on the internet if something is stumping you at all. And you'll get through it, and you'll end up with a gun that you truly love. And there is nothing more satisfying than after all the time and the money you spent picking out the parts, putting it together, and then you go out to the range and it works. It's a great feeling. And I recommend that everyone that is into guns build themselves at least one. And I promise it probably won't be your first one. I mean, your last one. once you start building, you're going to want to build more. I'm already thinking about what I want to build next. I want to do a Glock pistol build, you know, just start with the frame, add the internals I want, the slide, the barrel, the optic, the everything else, instead of like I did with my M&P where I bought a full gun and then, you know, changed it and adapted it and made it what I wanted it to be. So that might be the next build series, but I also want to do like a 13.9, 14.5, 5.56 build. Even though it's a little redundant, I've got my 16 and my 11.5. It's not something I desperately need, but I don't desperately need the Glock build either. It's just something that's fun and I enjoy doing it, and I think you would too. So let me know, are you into building firearms or are you into buying firearms? What do you think about the things that I chose for this one? Do you think I chose the right parts or would you have done it differently? Let me know in the comments. I would love to hear from you guys. It's just fun to me to build these things. Both of these I built 100% myself, and I recommend anybody else do that too. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. Please like this video if you liked it. Please share this with people that you think need to get building. And please subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to grow this channel. I want to get to 10,000 subscribers next, and I need you guys to do that. I appreciate every one of you guys that has subscribed. I'm from Sawtooth Tactical. Stay strapped or get clapped.